Hey, thank you for everybody for joining me on this Saturday episode of The Latino Conservative. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I am The Latino Conservative. That's right. So today's topics, we've got Joe Biden refusing to shoot down a Chinese spy that was spying on U.S. nukes. We've got that. We've got some fireworks that happened on the U.S. House floor when Republicans faced off with Democrats over some rules, over the Pledge of Allegiance. Got that and more on this episode of The Latino Conservative. But first, let's talk about our affiliates. How you can help me help you and bring you the news and bring you the voice of the people. Best thing you can do to help me out is by going to my website, clicking on this banner right here that says Chime. Now, what this is going to do is going to help you load up and build a Chime Credit Builder account. Now, what you get with that is a credit card, a secure credit card, and it's secured by your direct deposit. The more you deposit into that credit account, the higher your spending limit is, the higher your credit score goes. I work in the car business. I've worked in the car business for almost 20 years now, a little over 15 years, I should say, be closer. But one of the biggest things I see when people get approved is that they have revolving credit, and that's what this credit card does. So you notice here it says, if you click here, we can both get $100. So go do that. Click there. We can both get $100. Another way you can help out if you want, send me some cash on Cash App, $ Latino Conservative, or take a second, screenshot this, and you will see where you can go to donate. So if you give me just a second, everybody, I'm looking here on my YouTube channel. I don't want to make sure that everything is right on my YouTube channel, because just a second ago I was streaming and it did not. Okay, there we go. So we are good. We are good. Thank you all for joining me. So first news topic we have is Joe Biden refusing to shoot down a Chinese spy plane, balloon, whatever you want to call it. And he gives a lame excuse. Very lame, horrible excuse. His excuse was he doesn't want to hurt American people. Now, that sounds like it could be, nice, lovely, whatever. But we know Joe Biden, there's always ulterior motives. He's doing the politically correct version of that speech. Being a politician. So this Chinese aircraft was flying over our nuclear silos. The place where we as Americans, we hold our nuclear missiles that we have to protect us against nuclear war, like enemies like Russia and China that have nukes, and India who has nukes. What is he thinking? What is he thinking? Right now, we're at one of the most contentious times in our nation's history, more contentious than the Cuban Missile Crisis. We've got Russia threatening nuclear war. We've got China that is out there. They're doing their thing under the covers. They're being secret about it. I'm not going to say where the virus started. I'm not going to be dogmatic like that because YouTube will shut this small channel down. But we know pretty well, mostly kind of opinion. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot of people's opinion that a certain virus started in China by ways of biological warfare. There could be some truth to that. There could not be some truth to that. We don't know 100% true, 100, but I don't think that it would be called the China virus if it didn't originally originate from there. And I don't think that the Democrats would totally try to, shoot down that narrative if there wasn't some truth to that. But these cats are flying spy, quote unquote, big air quotes. If you're listening to this, you know that's just big air quotes. They're flying spy aircraft over our nuclear facilities. But the Chinese government. We know how truthful the Chinese government is. The Chinese government is saying that they're weather balloons. Weather balloons the size of 3 school buses. Looking over here at TikTok, connect the dots. Yes, exactly. And let me tell you a little bit about connect the dots on this. When we first started tracking this, it was coming to America through Russia, through Alaska, down through Canada, and it made its way all the way to Minnesota. How are we going to let that happen? The country that is supposed to have the strongest defense next to Israel, Israel's Iron Dome defense system is like top notch, but we're supposed to have one better than them. How are we going to let this quote unquote weather spy balloon come and just hover over our nuclear facilities? Now, I understand the Chinese have lots of land that they've bought, lots of farmland that they bought in the Midwest, but it still makes no sense why they're hovering over our nuclear facilities. Makes no sense why the president, the chief of whatever, I can't even think of it right now because it's so pissed off. I'm so pissed off. Commander in chief, why he won't command our military to take down a military threat to us over our own country. At very minimum, what he should have done once that got back out over the ocean, shoot it down then. Because if you don't remember, 20 years ago, think about it. It's about 20 years ago, give or take. China shot down one of our spy planes, stole equipment, and imprisoned the pilots. Wow. And we can't shoot down an unmanned object. They took American people off of American equipment. Why couldn't they just say, our turn? Even though there's not real equipment, no real people there, why couldn't they say, hey, it's our turn to retaliate? That's one big thing that I hate about politics is we try to play the game of we're not going to stoop to that level. Well, you know what? Sometimes we got to stoop to that level. Sometimes you got to punch the bully in the face. And that's a fact. China is being a bully right now. Hey, look what I can do. Oh, wow. I guess I just made a Trump-like mistake when he didn't really mock the journalist, but they freeze-framed it. But that was the dude from Saturday Night Live. Look what I can do. Woo! So China is slapping us in the face and saying, you can't touch us. Joe Biden is letting it get through because I have no doubt in my mind that the Bidens are in bed with China. I mean, just look at, Hunter Biden. Look at Swalwell sleeping with Fang Fang, Chinese spy, who decided she was going to disappear after she was discovered. Go figure that. So, if you like this topic, if you like this this commentary that I'm giving, please drop me a like, subscribe, share my content. Thank you to producer Trey from APR Productions. I see him over here on this phone over here. I see him over there sharing my stuff. I really do appreciate that. Go show me some love. Let people know that there's a voice out there. I'm the Latino conservative, but you know what? At the same time, I stand for everybody. If something hurts somebody that is not so conservative, I will fight for them too. Our next topic is a hot topic here. Let's talk about this one. Fireworks in the House after Democrats say insurrectionists should be banned from leading Pledge of Allegiance. So, Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz, kind of like a Trump Jr. to me. Kinda. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to have a lot of Republican friends say, you got to be a Trump supporter if you're a Republican. Well, you know what? I do support the guy because I liked what he did, but I don't worship the guy. I will say this. If Trump and DeSantis were running in the primaries, I'm probably voting for DeSantis. I liked his policies and his statesmanship better than Donald Trump. And let's be fair, Donald Trump is getting old. He is about the same age, if not the same age as Joe Biden, but he's getting up there. But let's get back to this. And I'm going to read straight off of the article here. This is from That Peacock News. A routine floor House committee meeting erupted into a heated hearing. Nearly. I don't have my glasses on, guard. Sorry, so I'm only scrolling. Hour-long debate Wednesday over the Pledge of Allegiance, with Democrat lawmakers saying the insurrectionists who backed former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 elections should be banned from leading the pledge. So let's dive into that just a little bit. They said if you backed Donald Trump's pledge to lead or to overturn the 2020 elections, you will not be able to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. First of all, it is the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, I stand for the flag. I will say the pledge with everybody. But again, honoring, supporting, not worshiping. If an event goes without saying the Pledge of Allegiance, oh well. That is their right as an American, as a human. That is their God-given right to do what they want or what they don't want. But this specifically, Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 elections legally in the House were representatives not voting to certify the election. And you know what? That is their prerogative. That is what they got voted to do, was to vote what they feel like the people of their district wanted them to do. That's not insurrection. That is standing up for your voters. How about this? And they got into a, will you accept this amendment? Will you accept this amendment? Back and forth and back and forth. And I don't want to play that because it does get a little bit like, how do I say, chicken fights is what it felt like. Felt like a chicken fight on the floor. And you know what? I don't pay them to do that. I don't pay them to take political ideals and make them into this huge narrative to I got you better. The bigger D contest is what I like to call it. I'm not going to say that word out in public, but still, who's got the bigger D? It's all it was. All it was. When we should be having them actual stand up for us as people, as constituents, as voters, as Americans, figuring out how we can better this country, what we can do to better our lives, what we can do to prevent Chinese spy aircrafts from coming over our borders and spying on our nuclear sites. What gives? That's what I'm paying them to do. Not to go back and forth like some kids. No, mine is bigger. No, mine is bigger. No. Get it together. But if you really want to get into that aspect of it, insurrectionists, you want to do that. I can see if they don't want to bring in voters, quote unquote, that actually storm the Capitol, that walk through the Capitol. They don't want to bring Viking Man over to say the pledge. I get that. When the pledge and the Judiciary Committee should be members of the Judiciary Committee. It should be that. I mean, hell, make a freaking recording of it and play it every freaking meeting. You can do that. Hell, I'll be the voiceover for that. But if you want to have people lead it, okay, great. That's your prerogative too. That's what y'all are voting on. But I will offer amendment to your amendment to your amendment. How about we not let members of Congress who incited violence, incited literal violence, lead the pledge? If you don't remember what I'm talking about, let's watch this 2-minute video here.
Anyway, wished desired, or encouraged lawless or violent behavior is a preposterous and monstrous lie. In fact, the first two messages the president sent via Twitter once the incursion of the Capitol began, gathering on January 6th, was supposed to be peaceful. Across the country, over the past 5 years, there had never been any mob-like or riotous behaviors, and in fact, a significant portion of each event was devoted to celebrating the rule of law. Opponents.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
The vast majority of the protests have been peaceful.
Republicans stand for law and order, and we stand for justice.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
My administration will always stand against violence, mayhem, and disorder.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I stand with the heroes of law enforcement.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
We will never defund our police. Together we will ensure that America is a nation of law and order.
We were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
We just want law and order. Everybody wants that.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We want law and order. We have to have law and order.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
We believe in safe streets, secure communities.
Enough of that. You get the point. You get the point already. So you've got people actually breaking the law in Congress, members of Congress breaking the law by inciting violence. Nothing was done about it. Nothing was done about it at all. So how about we add an amendment to the amendment to the amendment to those who can lead the pledge cannot be someone who incited violence. But let's take this back a little bit further, back to the insurrection part of it. What constitutes insurrection? Think about it for a second. Insurrection basically is kind of like tyranny, kind of like a mutiny, I should say. But at the end of the day, here in the United States of America, you're not guilty of insurrection until you're proven guilty in a court of law in front of a jury of your peers. Nobody these Democrats are accusing of insurrections have gone through that process yet. Nobody. Yet you've got Viking Man that is in prison for 4 years for putting his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Nothing else. He was cool about it. Like, he was chilled, kick back. I mean, living the life, living his best life in his Viking. Man, dude, that's like, how chill can you be? Putting his feet on a desk, kicking back, living his best life. But technically he broke the law, so I can see why he wouldn't be invited to say the pledge. Guess what? Eric Swalwell broke the law. Joe Biden broke the law. Hunter Biden broke the law. At the end of the day, everybody out there, everybody breaks the law. You can be driving and unknowingly break 5 laws. Isn't that something? So let's get back to our next topic. One of my favorite people in Houston, Miss Sheila Jackson Lee. Miss Sheila Jackson Lee. So she's posted here criminal justice reform and police reform. We cannot fail in creating order, safer and better policing. It's funny. There's a top cop right there. Miss Kamala Harris, who she had this meeting about policing with, that just something to put more people in prison, she held people in prison that should have been let out because she intentionally withheld evidence. She put people in jail for marijuana usage when she used marijuana herself. Top cop Sheila Jackson Lee of Houston, Texas. This is the same person that says, "Oh, I know what an AR feels like. I've held ARs. They weigh as much as like 6 boxes fully loaded for moving." That Sheila Jackson, the same Sheila Jackson Lee that would not let a car dealership in Houston give her a car to ride in a parade with their name on it unless it was a red convertible BMW. It had to be that, or she would not show their name. I've got a project I'm going to do in her district and in the next person's district just to see how much people know about her. But Miss Police Reform is talking about that. Let's watch this video she posted on her Twitter.
What did the president say, and what did he commit to?
Well, first of all, Michael, good to be with you and good to be on the readout. The meeting was invigorating between the president and the vice president. It was absolutely invigorating on understanding the issues. That's the first step, that we all understand the issues and we're on the same page. Really, the question is about public safety. And the question is about whether or not it is an American issue, because there are many groups have faced the brunt of brutality over these last years. There's Asian hate, there are acts against Latinos, obviously African Americans, and clearly we all want to do better. We want police officers to go home to their families, and we want to ensure that Tyree memory is upheld as his mother wanted, because he should be alive. He should not have lost his life. So I think where we came to is that we can agree on the issues dealing with public safety, and we can also deal with the question that many aspects of legislation that has already been introduced, i.e. the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, had bipartisan support on a number of issues there. So we're not starting from scratch. We're really starting to generate and hopefully collaborate with Republicans that understand that all Americans deserve public safety, and all Americans deserve to have the confidence that they won't lose their loved one beaten to death on the streets of America.
Okay, so let's analyze that for a little bit. First thing that I was waiting for when I heard that was reference to George Floyd, because there's been reference to the George Floyd incident in this entire incident. This is Tyree Hill from was Memphis, who just got basically assaulted to death by cops, by officers. And right away, they were talking about how it was white supremacy issues and all the cops were black. All of them. They're talking about, they even went so further as even though these are black cops, this was still rooted in white supremacy. Man, get off of that. Can we get off of that, please? The more we give attention to something, the more it grows. Also, the more somebody says something, it eventually becomes believable. I'm going to take you for a little spin real quick. I'm going to go way off topic. We're going to talk about paranormal. I used to be a paranormal investigator. I don't do it anymore, just for personal reasons. There's this thing called the Philip Project, where these paranormal investigators, they made up a character. They made up a ghost named Philip. They talked to Philip. They acted like he really existed. They made a whole personality and a whole history for Philip. Eventually, in one of their seances, guess who showed up? Philip. See, I believe we can create things, not necessarily like God the creator, but we can manifest things. We can make things happen just by talking about them, because we get that back here in our mind, and subconsciously we figure out how to manifest that, whether that's us doing like the whole golden rule where if you think it, you dream it, it will happen. You will manifest it. I manifest myself in a Lamborghini or Bugatti. Not really, because I actually hate those cars. But I'm going to see myself in that. I'm going to think about it every single day. Well, you know what? I'm going to motivate myself to drive that car eventually. I'm going to do what I have to do to drive that car. That's what we're doing with this whole issue here. And then we're trying to associate it with other issues. Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, that was a total different issue. Total different issue. They had bad history with each other. You know, they both had run-ins at the club. George Floyd, the reports show, you know, the reports that were hidden that they took off, they show that he OD'd on fentanyl. He would have died regardless, but that doesn't give Derek Chauvin the right to kill him. No, absolutely not. This is a total different issue. If you watch the video, watch the YouTube video, if you can find it, if they haven't stripped it down by now, of the whole fight between the black police officers and this black guy that wasn't a white supremacy issue, it looks personal. One podcaster, Tim Pool, says, and I listen to him all the time, he says, man, it looks like he knew the guy. And people are talking about how that guy, Tyree, how he was sleeping with that officer's wife. I mean, go figure. Whether or not it was personal or not, I don't know, but it wasn't a white supremacy thing. Police reform, I am of the belief that we need to fully support our police. I've got a blue stripe flag on the back of my car. When I run for Congress, I totally will back them as well, and I will seek their support, not monetarily, but just in words. Give me your endorsement, because I believe our police should be honored. They should be respected. And I believe we've put such a big stigma on police officers that we attack them now. Politically, now we've got people out there killing the police. We've got these YouTube auditors that go out there and try to do their First Amendment audits. And while I respect your First Amendment rights 100%, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Just like the Second Amendment. I totally 100% stand for the Second Amendment. But just because you can have a gun doesn't mean you should. I do not believe everyone should have a gun. But they have the right to if they want to. That's like, I don't believe that I should have a Lamborghini. It's my right to. By the way, I hate Lamborghinis. Just so you know, and I'm a car guy. But let's look at her district real quick. Let's look at Sheila Jackson Lee's district. One thing that is glaringly obvious to me, first thing that is glaringly obvious to me over her district. I'm going to take a second. In fact, drop me a comment on YouTube. Tell me what you think is glaringly obvious about her district. I'll give you a second. I can be down here, way, way, way down here, near Hobby Airport, because Hobby Airport's down just a little bit further. Drive. Oh, I'm out of her district, back in it, out of her district. This is what, 45, I believe. Let me see. In fact, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on this so you can see exactly what it is. For those of y'all in the Houston area, Aldine Bender, right up here. But look, you're driving. You're out of her district for a good hour. And then you're back in her district. Same thing over here. You leave her district, boom, all the way. You know, this is going from west to east. And yeah, you see my mouse here? Okay, let's over here. You're in her district, out of her district, in her district, out of her district, back in her district. And then you're in the water. Glaringly obvious that there is gerrymandering going on. But look, she's on that north side. She's in 5th Ward over here, Inner Loop. And she's got some nicer parts of town here, Jersey Village area. But she is in one of the biggest crime spots here. In her district, right in this area. You got some over here, and then over here, you know, Guns Point Mall is what they call it. You know, take care of your own area. Understand you're a federal employee. You're a federal representative. You're not local. So this technically falls in the hands of Mayor Turner. I get that. But we have the right to be safe in our own area. I don't go to those parts of the, 5th Ward, 3rd Ward. I don't go to those parts of town because I don't feel safe. In your own district, do you go to those parts of town? Oh, yeah, you do. You go take pictures there. You go take a picture, photo op real quick, and then you're gone to the parade in your red convertible BMW just so you can be fancy, smancy. And then you're worried about stealing. That's right, because you stole somebody's seat, first class seat, that they paid for on United Airlines. Yeah, project for y'all. Go look at those. So I got a comment here. LOL, you're running for Congress. Where? In Texas. I can't officially say what district I'm running in yet because I'm not supposed to announce it yet for 6 months prior to the filing date, which filing date is in from November to December. Can't do that quite yet, but if you go to the that thing right up there, or if you're following this later on, you follow my Zeta, so right in there. Yeah, I'm a little goofy on my TikTok. This is my personal TikTok, but look in there. I'm gonna put links that show me that you can keep up to date with. But let's look a little bit more about Houston. Let's talk about another rep in Houston, Congressman Al Green. Here we go. This dude loves to take pictures and videos of, again, him being somewhere for just a few minutes and then going. Let's look at this. This one right here. Today I had the singular honor of presenting Legacy Community Health a $1 million symbolic check representing the $1 million they will receive to upgrade medical records software. This upgrade will enhance their opportunity to better serve the needs of low-income and uninsured persons. So let's think about that for a second. Here, again, records management is what they're looking for. The company I work for in the auto industry, which I'm not going to say publicly here, but the company I work for in the auto industry, now mind you, I've worked in the car business for over 15 years now. Started from sales all the way up. Now I'm on the vendor side of it, which means I sell stuff and I support dealerships. But we deal with software. I teach software. I install software. I utilize software. I know software. I'm not quite the developer, but I know how to set up software. So I'm going to say this. $1 million for software. Customer records management. CRM. Sugar CRM. Free. Open CRM. Free. Let's see. Obama. President Barack Obama. Yeah, he was a president, so I'll still call him president. He deserves that. He did some stuff. I can't fully say that he was totally 100% bad. But Barack Obama's campaign, a presidential campaign, takes millions of dollars to run. We all know this. But he ran his on open office, which is free. That's right. There's free stuff out there. Now, understand, you may need to pay somebody to customize that. I mean, heck, pay me $1 million. I'll customize that because that's what I do. Pay me $1 million. I'll customize it, and then I'll use the other time I have to do some good stuff in the community. But let's do this. While we are here, I am going to pull up Google, and I'll let you do the Google search with me. Google Pearland, Texas, homeless. Pearland is right smack dab in the middle of his district. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Pearland, Texas, homeless shelters. Temporary shelters. Top of the best 10 homeless shelters in Pearland, Texas. There's 10 in one city. Pearland isn't that big. Pearland is not Houston by all means. Pearland is not that big. But he's given it to a medical facility to help low-income people. How about you take that $1 million, divide it into 10 to those top 10 best homeless shelters in Pearland alone? Because that $1 million is going to one facility to develop software, which you can get for free. You take that $1 million, divide it into 10. Each one of those top 10 homeless facilities in Pearland gets $100,000. What could they do with that? How much food can they buy? How much food can they buy for $100,000? I myself, I'm kind of on a weird diet right now. I spend a couple $100 a month on food for me. Because, yeah, I'm on a weird diet right now, so. But he's going to these medical places, which kind of brings me back to my original argument. For those of y'all who have been following me on my TikTok or on my personal Instagram, you know that I've been fighting with a medical entity. Two medical entities. One called Eli Lilly and one called Aetna, who is my insurance provider. Been trying to get approved for Mounjaro, an insulin that helps me stay alive. The first insulin that I have found, it's a weekly insulin that I found that actually works for me, and I don't have to poke myself multiple times a day. And I can almost get off of every other medication with this medicine. Live a good lifestyle. Guess what? That's medical. They wanted me to pay fully out of pocket for that. Medical industry, big pharma, and politicians, they're in bed with each other. Totally, 100%. And that's not just Democrat Republicans. There's some Republicans, Democrat politicians, but Republicans as well. There's some out there as well. I actually absolutely love one thing AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one thing she brought up is why we Americans pay hundreds of dollars for a medicine that they pay $10 for in other countries. I love that argument. I'm 100% capitalist. I believe in capitalism, but I believe the bigger the entity, the more of a thumb we need to put on them to make sure that they don't use their size to take advantage. And I'm going to go off on a tangent real quick on that. Walmart is a big example of that. I go in and have a hard time finding a cashier to check me out. At a Walmart that has between 10 to 20 cash registers where people can stand and take your money, they have just as many checkouts, self-checkouts, but they have like one or two. We all know this. They're a huge entity. They're using that because they are still getting the same amount of income in, because people still have to shop at Walmart. No matter if you like to or you don't, you still have to shop at Walmart. Most of the people, because that's what they can afford. They can't afford a Target. They can't afford, other higher end, nicer places. They can afford Walmart. The bulk of the Walmarts are what people can afford. And people are being forced to check themselves out. Spending their own time. Are they going to give us W-2s for all the checkouts that we do, self-checkouts that we do? But now what Walmart does is they're fighting to increase the minimum wage. Why? Because they can afford it. They're getting a surplus of money because they're not having to pay as many employees. They don't pay as many cashiers because people are checking themselves out. And they're also installing their own software to help prevent thieves and whatnot. Well, you know what? How about you have people check us out? Take my money and scan my items for me. Do what I pay y'all to do. Serve us. Be a store. But people like Walmart are fighting to increase minimum wage to $15 an hour to drive off the mom and pop stores because they can't afford to pay all of their employees $15 an hour. That's another tangent. I'm going to save the rest of that for a whole different topic, different podcast. But I really look forward to seeing y'all again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday are my days. Saturday in the morning, I've been on for almost an hour. Oh my goodness, it's like been the longest I've talked live. So thank y'all for joining on me today. Thank y'all for letting me rant and rave at you today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.